Okay, sure. Look, we may as well make a start and press on with this webinar. For those of you that has taken the time out of your busy day to join us, thank you. I hope that this will be a beneficial session to you, we'll obviously have some questions and answers at the end with some polls and that throughout the webinar. The expected duration is approximately 30 minutes. And just for bandwidth and that, I'm actually just going to turn off my camera at the start, and I'll start it again at the end. Okay. Again, good morning, and thank you for joining here this morning. My name is Terry Fannin. I'm a Knowledge Solutions Manager at Enovation, and I hope that you're looking forward to this webinar as much as I am. So how are all of you here this morning? I hope that you're getting an opportunity to enjoy some of this fine weather. I'm glad it's finally hot enough to complain about how hot it is, because it's certainly really cranking up the temperature. So what's this webinar about? In this webinar, we are going to look at what an LXP or Learning Experience Platform is. I suppose it also goes by a learning digital platform, and compare that to what a learning management system is. This webinar is not going to be product focused, as really I would just like to give you practical tips for choosing the one that's right for your business, and as such, I hope that you will take away some useful pointers, which is my primary objective here this morning. I just see if there's... Okay. However, I would be happy to have a conversation with any of you offline to discuss any products if you wish. Okay. Before we get into answering the question of the webinar, let me just first take a few moments to introduce Enovation as a company and its journey from humble beginnings to being one of the largest and most respected Moodle partners in the world. We have a client base of over 300 customers worldwide. Our head office is based in Smithfield in Dublin. We also have offices in France and Poland. We are a certified Moodle service provider, as well as a Totara Platinum partner. And also, and something that we're extremely proud of here at Enovation is that last year we were actually one of the first few of Moodle partners globally to achieve the ISO 27001 certification for information security. So that usually gives the good folk in IT peace of mind. A little bit about our solutions and the products that we offer. Obviously, being a Moodle partner, Moodle would be one of our core products, globally the most successful learning management system on the planet. And then more recently, as of last year, Moodle Workplace extended core Moodle. So it's all the great features of regular Moodle with some advanced workplace features for the corporate sector, if you like. We're also a Totara partner, which is an enterprise level learning management system with some extremely powerful features that you would expect in an enterprise learning management system. Aura then is Aura Talent is one of our own products. It's an innovative solution that was developed by the team at Enovation that, after identifying a gap in the market, we developed this competency and talent management and career planning software that seamlessly integrates with Moodle Workplace and Totara. Significant R&D investment there from Enovation. Just on the products that we service or manage, we obviously provide an end-to-end solution for that around consultancy and auditing, training, some custom development, because again, that's one of the many benefits of working with open source, is that you know, no two implementations are really the same. From where I sit anyway at Enovation, our clients appreciate the flexibility and openness of the solutions, that they can, you know, they can tailor it to meet their exact needs, unlike proprietary systems, and also integrations into HR systems for deep integrations. And we also have a content development team in-house here at Enovation that supports our clients in bespoke content development. And we also offer a range of hosting solutions right up to AWS solutions also. And we also offer a full support services with our good folk in the support department. Just a sampling of some of our clients. You know, there's quite a diverse range of clients here, from higher educational institutes such as Trinity College in Dublin, the University of Limerick, some government clients there like Solace, and Garda Síochána, Sport Ireland, and more on the corporate side then, you have Mercury there, Johnson & Johnson, Boston Scientific, and Transitions, to name but a few. And what's interesting about that for me is that, you know, having the opportunity to work with such a diverse range of clients is that we bring all that learning back in-house, and then we share it out to other clients, particularly any, you know, pitfalls or anything like that people might have gone down and learned from it. We like to share that learning back out to our clients. Okay.
So sorry, Terry, hi everyone. I just popped a question in the chat. If you think, can you all see it? Yeah.
Oh, perfect, Audrey. It's a perfect opportunity, just, you know, a quick engagement opportunity to use the chat here. And I suppose given the concept of that an LXP is relatively new, what do you think an LXP is? What does a learning experience platform mean to you? Or indeed, maybe it's because it's so relatively new in the last 3 or so years, maybe it's not something that you have actually come across yet. Okay, can I see those? Absolutely, there are a lot of similarities, Richard, and indeed, the whole concept of an LXP is that it is fancier, it looks better, and it's certainly more intuitive. Yes, Carl, it certainly captures many different types of learning experiences, and we're going to touch on some of those here this morning. And Hilary will definitely, well, I hope, to instill knowledge on everyone attending here this morning on some of the key features and benefits of a learning experience platform. Thank you. Okay, so I'm pretty confident that most people here this morning will know what a learning management system is. So I'm not going to dwell on this too much. I'm going to keep it very high level, and it's really only for context when talking about a learning experience platform. You know, given the fact that a learning management system, you know, they've been around for almost 20 plus years, and they are obviously efficient at what they do. But as we all know, learning is more than formal programs like annual compliance training and onboarding. If we take a look at the slide here, we can see that, you know, the LMS focuses on broad outcomes that's used to administrate, manage, deliver, and track formal online training courses. And at its core, an LMS is made to be, you know, administrator-led, meaning that the organization has control over what the learners are taking, as it's managed by their team. In other words, an LMS, you know, it would shepherd learners through the system, you know, the consuming content that is assigned to them. So what is an LXP? And how is it different to that of an LMS? Well, let's, I think a good starting point here then, even based on some of the chat there is, we'll first define what an LXP is. And a learning experience platforms, they create personalized learning experiences by pulling both formal and informal learning materials from across an organization and indeed beyond external to the organization for the purpose of self-paced learning. The goal of these of platforms labeled as LXPs is to, well, it's essentially, it's to provide a single point of access for all digital learning material. And a notable mention here, actually, the term LXP was first coined by the L&D industry commentator Josh Bursing to describe a new wave of learning platforms that's focused on bringing all digital learning in this way. And if we look at some of the following characteristics on the screen here, like learner-centric ecosystem, what does that mean? Well, an LXP acting as a true content delivery system, their ability to curate content from a company's internal digital learning sources, and indeed user-generated content engages learners in within an interactive environment. And this approach to digital learning creates that learner-centric ecosystem within an organization, and therefore increases a learner's personal motivation. Personalized learning experiences. If you were to do a quick Google on LXPs, and nearly every single article that would relate to an LXP relates an LXP to that of a Netflix type experience. And the reason for that is it's simple. An LXP compares to an LMS the way television compares to Netflix. Not long ago, streaming services such as Netflix, they came along and disrupted the viewer experience by offering on-demand shows. And as a result, viewers no longer have to rely on the TV or entertainment and can instead turn to Netflix to watch, essentially whatever they want and whenever they want. And so similarly, a learning experience platform have changed the game for long time, learning management system users. And unlike the learning management system that pushes predetermined content towards learners, an LXP allows learners to choose their own content and make personalized recommendations. So it's creating that natural gravitation, towards learning rather than the push factor. Formal and informal learning, at its core, a learning experience platform creates personalized learning experiences by integrating and consolidating formal and informal learning initiatives, including the LMS training programs from across the organization. But the two of them will sit side by side. Social and collaborative learning. Well, like any social media platforms, LXPs invite users to connect with one another, to like and share content and post comments, really garnering that engagement and collaboration as learning becomes increasingly embedded in work itself, affording the employees, the learner, the opportunity to learn directly from others. And again, both inside the organization, but also external. It becomes more important. Then, skills-based discovery. Just having the ability of an LXP to, given that it enhances worker engagement, team building, and social interactions. Skills-based discovery, will direct users to various learning paths that could be based on their job profiles, on their job skills, their personal interests, and the need to close those gaps. Smart and intelligent search features is paramount. Using LXP features like advanced search with content tagging and filtering, content recommendations that make discovery, intuitive and quick. And with that, I just like a very, very quick poll, if I may, and that. Would you consider replacing your LMS for an LXP?
Hi, Terry. We just dropped that into the chat. So if anybody wants to contribute, you can submit your answers in the chat box.
And I suppose the reason this is will be a very interesting question, because it will form the the discussion around my next slide. And yes, Carl, I think there is a place for both, and I would definitely share that thinking. Good point, Hilary. Obviously, costs would be a major factor, as well as the benefits. Very good question, Claire. What will be lost without an LMS? And I hope to answer that question on the next slide. Okay, thank you for that. Because indeed, that is now the conundrum of many HR and L&D professionals. So what I've done here is I've just put the main points from the previous slides into this comparative slide here to look at it holistically and to answer the question of the webinar. And this conundrum that I mentioned that now faces HR and L&D professionals, but personally, I don't think it should be a conundrum. I think putting LMSs in oppositions to LXPs in this way can have unintended side effects and consequences. For instance, you may question whether an LXP is an actual replacement for a learning management system, or even conclude that you need one over the other. I suppose, depending on who you speak with or what you research online, there are different opinions on choosing one over the other. But my stance, or indeed my opinion on this, is that an organization needs both. An LMS, after all, was designed as a solution to the problems of human resources. They were designed in the form of delivering courses, registrations, validation workflows, ability to book face-to-face training, managing the mandatory compliance training and meeting deadlines, a whole functional panel that is still very much critical today. So therefore, in principle, if you think about it, a company can do without a learning experience platform, whereas they can't really do without a learning management system. And as for the learning experience platform, it was designed with the end user in mind, the learner. And the basic premise is simple. If a platform, has not been built using the same principles seen on the likes of Facebook, Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, then end users will be less likely to engage and to integrate the platform into their daily lives. Therefore, I would actually argue that an organization would greatly benefit from having a single integrated solution that combines the huge benefits of a learning management system and the user experience of an LXP into one solution. So for me, it's not a case of having one over the other, it's having one single integrated solution. I would see a learning experience platform as an evolution of the LMS. After all, the tried and trusted LMS has been around for almost 20 years and has become the foundation for these new technologies, raising their value as a digital learning commodity. However, there is one caveat there, that integration is key to that seamless interaction between the two systems. The technology can combine the data from each employee's HR file, including his or her current role, their career progression, aspirations, level of expertise, with learning activity data on the LXP to guide personalized learning and recommended learning. Once it's integrated into the LMS, an LXP can create an engaging environment to offer on-demand learning based on specific topics, skills, or learning objectives. Now let's just take a look at some of the must-have key features of an LXP. And basically what you're, for this slide, it's about, using the modern UX and UI principles like those seen on large consumer websites. Naturally, a system which can capture and support and share all that diverse types of content needs to look and feel very modern to users. It should be visually pleasing, as someone there mentioned in the chat, and easy for even the newest of users to navigate. And what we're looking at here in this one single screenshot is we're looking at gamification, the use of gamification on the individual's dashboard. Again, that's an engagement strategy, but it's again the leaderboard here, for example, could be looking at within an organization or within a department. It's obviously the opportunity to level up and earn and gain badges. Quick and intuitive access to learning resources that are applicable to this individual learner. And again here, quick and intuitive access to mandatory or recurring training, again with a visual progress indicator. And then any new or important content is displayed here in this example. But I suppose the point that this this screenshot here is depicting is that it's using that modern UX and UI design principles on the user's dashboard, giving them quick and immediate access to content that is relevant to them. Continuing with that gamified learning experience, LXPs would often include ways for learners to earn badges or certificates through skills assessments. Because there are so many ways to learn and consume content on an LXP, and these markers would obviously serve as valuable milestones for both the learner and their manager to measure and evaluate progress. This particular screenshot here depicts a 30-day challenge, and it uses the modern instructional design principle of microlearning, whereby the learner has to complete 3 out of 5 weekly challenges before the following week will open. And so even if they were to unlock all of the challenges in one day, the following week it's designed to not unlock until 7 days has lapsed. Again, an engagement strategy to promote the continuous learning, and so this is actually a particular course format within the LMS that's merged to again take some of those design principles from an LXP. Again, a good feature, an important feature of an LXP is that again on the user's dashboard that they would have quick and easy access to their most recently accessed resources that they were consuming, so that they can literally pick up where they left off. And the course progress here then. Again, so this interface here would be on the learner's dashboard of the LXP, and what's happening here is it's actually showing the LMS for that mandatory training or certification learning. It's actually showing it here on their LXP dashboard, their most recently accessed, but also a visual indicator of their progress through those courses. And also the facility to offer bookmarks, so that they can bookmark and tag their content. Because again, LXPs would have greater content types, and having that facility to bookmark or view your last access resources quickly and intuitively would encourage continued use. Integration with a webinar tool, also a must-have and noteworthy feature, so that again everything happens within the LXP. They can book onto webinars, they can view their past webinars, they can view the recordings intuitively from their of past webinars. Special access pages within an LXP. Again, having that ability to restrict access to groups of learners promotes ownership of the learning activities and encourages completion and collaboration. So what's happening here in this screenshot is that learning that's actually taken place on the LMS again is being displayed in this particular dashboard, so they have that quick visual indication of their progress of the various activities that they must complete. And, again, collaboration and engagement being an integral feature of an LXP, being able to, given the popularity of Microsoft Teams, having that rich integration with MS Teams, enables easy sharing of content, quick access to learning from the main Microsoft Teams interface. I suppose this level of integration with MS Teams puts learning firmly in the flow of work, ensuring learners can share, collaborate, curate learning all within one single platform. Users can create resources and playlists, access and complete mandatory learning, or browse the learning catalog without even leaving MS Teams. So just, I suppose, maybe because I'm just conscious of the time we're approaching, and I want to leave some time for questions at the end. The primary example of an LXP and an LMS working together is that, if you think about it, most organizations, their learning management systems are filled with great offerings, great content offerings, but the issue is that too few employees actually know about it. The primary objective of the learning experience platform is to fix that by bringing together those formal compliance-based learning with informal learning, and content from your LMS, should sit literally side by side with informal curated learning content from the likes of articles, videos, podcasts, blogs, and also user curated learning content. So I'll hand over back to you, good folk, and a good opportunity to have some questions and answers. And I hope that this short webinar has given you at least a high-level overview of what an LXP is. I'm just going to turn my camera back on. Participants are responding to panelists only in the chat. Would you mind asking them to share with everyone? Good point. Yes, in the chat feature here that I'm showing here, when you do respond, instead you respond to all panelists and attendees, so that everyone can get really inclusive and involved. Okay, Richard. I suppose I would argue. I would ask you, what would you foresee as the difference between a VLE and an LMS? Because for me, they're pretty much they're pretty much aligned and offer the same things. And I think, again, likewise, you can equally have a VLE, sitting side by side with an LXP through that seamless integration that I spoke about. Because as I mentioned, I don't see, competing an LMS, thanks, Richard, against an LXP. I think there should be one single integrated solution as opposed to introducing another separate system into the organization's ecosystem. I'm glad we're aligned on that, Richard. Anyone else have any questions? Hillary, useful to know about the new systems. Would like to learn more. Absolutely, Hillary. Please do reach out to me. My email address is there. Terry.fannon@innovation.ie. Carol, absolutely. And I should, there are so many features and functionality of what comprises an LXP, and that is certainly one of them. And I suppose that's going to be a topic for my next webinar, Carol, and the use of XAPI and learning record stores within an LXP. And yes, a lot, including our own solutions, and a lot of other providers would have an inbuilt or at least integrate it with a third-party LRS. But certainly will be a topic, Carl, for my next webinar on this subject. when I will be covering off other features. And I'll let you know in time, Carol, and others, when that's going to happen.
Terry, I think we have a question from Claire as well, just above.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, Claire, I missed your question completely, and thank you for your feedback. Yes, Enovation has integrated, and some of those screenshots that I would have showed there on the screen, well, all of them actually, would have been from our integration of the LMS and LXP together with just some of our existing clients. And again, Claire, happy to continue that conversation offline if required. Okay, I'll just give one final opportunity for any further questions. Okay, I would just like to thank you, Hilary, just extend my gratitude and say thank you for taking, again, the time out of your busy days and schedules to attend this webinar. Enjoy the sun, plenty of sun cream, drink plenty of water, and stay safe. And yeah, hopefully we'll talk again real soon on the next iteration. Thank you, Carl, on the next iteration of LXPs.
Yeah, sorry, Terry. There's a question from Ilse. Sorry if I.
Oh, yeah. To what extent do you think learners are ready to use the function? To what extent? I think organizations are you know, I think they're ready now. I mean, look, certainly we're seeing it here at Enovation. We're seeing it, you know, a quick research online would show the volume of, you know, organizations that are already embracing an LXP. Because what's happening, or what has been happening, is because the LMS has been primarily used for that compliance type related learning. You know, it's known that, and I think it was the LinkedIn Learning Workplace report for 2020 that has already highlighted that employees were going external. They were going to Google. They were already going to YouTube. They were collaborating and learning outside of the organization's ecosystem. And that became problematic for various reasons. And so, as such, you know, it has really elevated the growth of LXPs. And I think, you know, this pandemic also has elevated the growth of LXPs within organizations purely because of the new, you know, the work from home policies. I mean, people work from home, and creating the opportunity for, you know, engagement and collaboration within teams and larger groups within the organization, and, you know, keeping and maintaining that level of engagement. Yeah, no, absolutely, clear. The learners are definitely much more prepared and ready for it than the actual organization. And I've seen that again quite a lot over the last 12 or so months. Okay, I think we'll wrap it up for there. I do believe my colleagues, Audrey and Emma, will make the recording available to you at some stage in the very near future. And we'll certainly be in touch with you directly for the next iteration of webinars related to learning experience platforms. So thank you very much, everyone.